Hey designers, my name is Manuel Akpan, and in today's video we're going to be diving into the world of creating brand case studies on Behance using Adobe Illustrator. So sit tight and let's go. Alright guys, so before we dive right in, let's talk about what a case study is. So a case study is a documentation of your process and the results you achieved on a particular project as a designer. Right, so it involves talking about the project, the overview, the challenges you had, and the results that came out of it, right? And it's just a way to show your creative skills and problem solving skills as a designer. So you really want to be able to create strong case studies which can feature in your portfolio. I was privileged to be contacted by a studio outside Nigeria to work on a branding project, and they reached out to me through Behance and they mentioned how they liked one of my case studies. So case studies are really a great way to level up and put yourself out there as a designer. All right, so that's out of the way. Let's go into Illustrator right now. And this is the file which I worked on to create the entire case study. You can see how long the document is, right? So let me zoom in, and these are just the logos. This was the final logo assets which I worked on. It was for a sunglasses brand called Peep, right? So ideally, you need to have a good structure for your Behance presentations, right? So first of all, the dimensions. Behance recommends using a width of 1400 pixels, 1400 pixels for your width, and the height, there's no specified dimension, but personally I would recommend you use 800 pixels. That usually fits on the page nicely. 800 pixels, right? So let's get into it. So first off, you always want to start with a compelling cover page, right? And I'm going to be switching between this Illustrator file and the actual project, because I've posted the project on Behance and you can get the link in the description. So a compelling cover page is always important, right? To just drag in the viewers of your project, right? So was the cover page, right? And before I go on, I'd like to mention, always make sure you have your mockups ready, right? Before you dive into creating the project on Illustrator, right? That's very, very important. Finish the project, work on all your assets, get your logo done. So you know you're just focusing on creating different layout styles, right? So you can even see I actually had a folder, right, where I grouped all my mockups, and everything is actually well organized. You can see all the mockups here. All right, so let's go. So like I said, compelling cover page, I had already designed this, and this was what I used for the cover page. So next off, for my projects, I like to add an overview at the beginning, right, with some text, right? But I like to do that in Behance, because Behance has a text editor which can allow you to add some text. So if I scroll down, you can see the overview and the project objectives, right? And it's always important for you to feature this in your projects, right? It just helps you appear more professional and shows that you had a problem to solve before the project got started, right? So this was the project overview, and these were the deliverables that I needed to work on, right? So moving down, I kind of created this simple, these are two different frames, right? But I combined them as a GIF just to create that kind of animation vibe. And it's always, if you have the skill of motion design and animation, it's quite nice for you to feature this in your projects. It just helps it make it look more interesting and tell the brand story you're trying to portray better. So if you have motion design skills, definitely feature it in your portfolio. Right, so I just created this simple GIF, and it's just two different frames. And next up, I went to showcase the logo. You can see the two different artboards here, right? Just showing the Peep logo on a white background and on a purple background with the logo in a gradient form, right? And moving on, I then feature the just I just try to get people to understand what the project is about immediately, right? So that's why I feature this eyeglass case, right, with the eyeglass wipes, just to immediately give the idea that, oh, this is a sunglasses brand, in case people skip this the text that was at the beginning, right? And you can see how we featured in the project, yeah, right here. Oh, and I skipped something. So I always like to also talk about my approach to the brief. Why did I design the way I did? Why did I pick the colors? So it's always important that you talk about this in your projects as well. Why did you choose this particular color? Why did you go with that font? Why did you go with the script font, sans serif, and whatever? Right. So this just helps to portray your professionalism more. And it's advisable not to put too much text, just simple short paragraphs, 3 to 4 lines that people can quickly read through. All right, so let's go back to Illustrator. And you can see next off, I showcase the typography, right? Just showing the fonts I used, Pacifico and Inter, and their use cases. So this was for headlines, for paragraphs, and this was just an extra touch just to showcase the brand more, right? So moving on, I went into color systems, right? Showing the various colors I use and their hex codes. And this is always important. It's good for you to have a structure when you are showcasing your projects. Ideally, you should showcase the colors, the typography, the logo, the initial elements first off before you go into the mockups and other things that you created. All right, so let's move on. And if I move down, you can just see how I was showcasing the various projects, the various mockups from the project. I worked on some packaging as well, which was part of the deliverables. The packaging in different styles, business cards, and actually like how the business cards came out if I zoom in. So next off was shopping bag, just different packaging. And like I said, it's advisable create all your mockups first before you go into the presentation, right? So just moving down, and you'll notice some pages kind of have this division, right? This kind of gap. So white space, right, is ideal for you to present some of your work with some good amount of white space, just to give the design space to breathe, right? Very important as a professional designer. All right, so moving on, and you can see just more presentations, the sunglasses, the packaging from different angles, the eyeglass case features again. And if I zoom out, let's go to the top. So this are just some more artboards. I also worked on some social media, which I think, yeah, if you're working on a digital project, you should feature social media templates as well. And notice the dimensions for this. The width is always 1400 because that's recommended by Behance, but the height can change. So you can see the height of this artboard is different from this, right? So, and yeah, these are just some extra assets I worked on, the website, and also the final page. So I always like to conclude my projects with a a poster, a white banner right at the end. I've noticed a lot of designers do this, and it usually has a nice touch. So I always like to try to close my projects with a nice clean banner at the end, right? All right, so that was an overview of the entire project. You can see how wide the artboard is, right? So let's go into Behance and let's see how the project turned out from start to finish. Alright guys, so now you know how to create a case study on Behance using Illustrator. I would really urge you guys, young designers, aspiring designers, try to work on case studies like this, and you should definitely be leveling up in your career. Thank you so much. If you love this video, don't forget to like, subscribe. Thank you guys so much for your support. I know it's been a long time I made a video, but I'm just happy to be back here again. Thank you so much and have a great day. Stay creative.